Welcome into a stormy Friday evening. How is everybody doing? Welcome to the Just Jump In live stream. As usual, give me a shout out if you're in the chat, and let me know that my audio is working. That's usually the culprit in my live streams, is the audio is doing its own thing. But also let me know you're there and say hi to everybody. And it is quite stormy out here in Twin Cities area. Hi, Mom. Welcome in. You get the proverbial cookie for being first to chat and say hi, and then, oh, bang. Welcome in, Bill. Welcome, Split Rock Tom. Excuse me. Jimmy, welcome in. So I could have sworn when we took the dogs out earlier, when it wasn't raining, it was just starting, I could have sworn I saw hail come down for a second, but like for just a second, I don't know. But this is the kind of weather where there it goes with the mute again. I don't know why it did that. Let me make sure I'm on. Nope, the Yeti mic. Now, can you hear me on the Yeti mic? It just muted again on its own. I don't know what it's doing. I'm not hitting any buttons or anything, and so I gotta figure that out. Bill, let me know again, because I had to switch up the microphone again, and so it should be on my. Thanks, Jimmy, for confirming. As I always panic on when it comes to the audio. Thank you again. So, what I wanted to do was, as I try to promise myself and all of you what I'm okay. Hey Ken, welcome in. So yeah, that's making me nervous with the S scale taking over, because as I continue to build models, bigger models are enticing because of the detail. So I'll tolerate the S scalers for now. And speaking of that, I had just watched a video, and I'm going to talk about the channel or channels that are newer that I just watched, and one of them was doing an S scale building. I don't think it was very much different than any other scale wood building, but it was interesting. So I'm trying to build community. I am by definition probably a lone modeler, but I'm trying to get everybody who's lone modelers, and admittedly, if you're generally on YouTube or other Facebook, or which this is broadcast on as well, you're probably not exactly a lone modeler, and I'm not exactly a lone modeler, but I am trying to so Bill, you're allowed in. Ken's a little iffy. So anyway, you'll notice scrolling across the bottom and at the very top in the chat, there's a link to a new Discord. I created a Discord. It's one of those that I've been having trouble kind of getting used to with other Discord channels, and so I decided to just jump in and try to have a Discord channel, but I haven't invited anybody yet. I just created it into what I would think would be some interesting topics to chat on, and so I put I put a link in the chat to go out and sign up and start a conversation. I've put some comments in myself to try and get conversation started, but it's really hard to get conversation started if there's only 3 people in the chat right now. It's a bot from Restream. So you actually can go in there now and see chat messages that have popped up from live streams, and myself, obviously, and Gopher Girl. And Gopher Girl said hi, but hasn't actually engaged in any of the conversation. So I'm looking for everybody else to check that out, and maybe we can start a community there as well. So the next thing I wanted to do, and I've done this before, and I love to highlight some other channels, other social networks, and the like. Bear with me for a moment because I can't get down to my chat here. Let's try this again. Hi, Art. Welcome in. One of these days I got to connect with you. I have one of the awards from the last show that I need to get back for those going to the next show, even though I think we're changing up that award, which is the Best in Show award. Hey, Charlie, welcome in. Love your channel. And before my wife is the overlord of our stream, so she knows exactly what's going on. But nice having you in here. Everyone else in the chat, if you haven't checked out Partic Hill Station, I highly recommend you do that. Fantastic channel, and you'll be thrown off by Charlie's accent, because it does not sound Canadian, but you'll enjoy his channel. So, yep, we, I mean, all of our wives know we do this. It's how they keep tabs on us, for sure. Keep us out of trouble. So anyway, as I was saying, so there is a channel called Aaron's Workbench that I picked up a tip from. Not that I have all plastic hangers, so it doesn't actually help me that much, but the idea is a good one, if you have the pieces that you need. So what he does in one of the videos is he's doing a painting project, and so he took these brass tubes, so you can get them from K&S or whatever. They're not super expensive anyway, off of there, and he soldered. He said he soldered on the screws, and he added some like 5-minute epoxy and to strengthen it, and he screws them right into the bolsters of the car he's painting. So I thought that was a good idea. So and he's got a few other channels, so he's newer. But while he's newer, he seems like he is seems like he's got some modeling experience. What is going on? So this is his channel here. And if you're out on the Discord channel, you should actually see that that comment that I just put in, or that link. And then another new channel. He only has like 6 videos, I think, 6 full length or whatever you want to call it videos. But again, seems to have some experience. What is going on? I hear my dogs barking and Gopher Girl yelling. But this guy's channel is the Modeler's Bench. So Jimmy. Can we say, Jimmy, that you have a thick accent, maybe? Anyway, helping out some other YouTube, and they seem like they're, some from their videos, they're pretty solid modelers. So go support them, go check them out. Like I did, you might be able to pick up a tip or two as well. Okay, so the next question is for the next item is for our, it usually is your fault, Gopher Girl, is for building the coil cars right now. There are no pictures that I can find anywhere on, and there usually isn't, but underneath the car. on Railroad Archives.net, that site, on the Conrail historical site, and and anywhere else on the internet. I couldn't find anything. So if I'm trying to merit with a car and I'm scratch building and I have got to build the bolsters, I'm wondering how critical somebody could be of the bolsters, and if that's like I have to actually find what the bolsters would be. Since I didn't have them in the meantime, I designed and 3D printed bolsters. So let's see if we can come in like this. I did try, and again got frustrated with cutting and making the bolsters with styrene. So following, it just doesn't look good. It had to be a little different than, so I went back to the flat car clinic. Hey, Brad, I didn't see you come in. Welcome in. So I went back to the flat car clinic and I took that direction and modified it a little bit, because they generally have two sides that they do, and it's split by a center sill. But this is going to be set up differently because of that hydro cushion system. So I was building one all the way across, still with their direction. And here's my issue again with cutting styrene. It doesn't look good at all. So I'm gonna continue to try to do that, probably, to compare. But I have also created this one, pretty simple. It just feathers down to the sides and has hopefully enough room. I might make this a little thicker. I think this is 4 millimeters that I made this first piece on here. It's actually two pieces. The long piece, the rectangle in the middle, is 2 millimeters, and then the square on top is 2 millimeters. So I think that's 4 millimeters, and I was working with the screws I have, and I have longer screws. The bottom of this car is for the styrene version is going to be a thin piece of styrene, and I don't have room for the screw to go anywhere. So it's got to be in here. So I might make this a little longer, or buy shorter screws potentially as well. But wondering how finicky people would be. Here is the recreation of the bolster from the private car that I did, the kit. And I took that bolster and recreated it because I messed up those bolsters. But this will also fit. The integrity of it, with such a small surface area. Hey, Wigwag, welcome in. Nice to have you in here. I'm happy to have the raid from Fultz Bailey Railroads. His live stream, I was happy to be able to catch part of it. One of the questions I had in there, I don't think he saw at the time, was he had some of the Liquitex paint. And so wondering if anybody has experience with the Liquitex paint. It's a little bit more expensive. Hey, Grandpa Rails, welcome in. Nice to have you in here. I appreciate him sending you. I will give him the proper hellos, or proper thank yous, I mean, for sending you all. Lynn, welcome in. Lynn McCurdy, nice to have you in here. Almar, welcome in. Appreciate you being in here. So if anybody has any feedback, if an evaluator for the NMRA would care what bolsters, let me know and I can do more research. But I'll show you where I got with that. So Chuck, welcome in. Possum Bayou, welcome in. Appreciate you all checking out my live stream, and appreciate Rick for sending you guys over. And so moving along with the build. So for those of you that are new to the channel, what I'm trying to do is use the live stream to keep me on task as I work through the AP program through the NMRA. And so I'm doing a mix of scratch building with styrene and with 3D printing. I have a Bamboo A1 filament printer, and I'm currently building a coil car. I'm modeling the Northeast Corridor, New Jersey, and for freight, I'm doing Conrail. It's going to be mostly passenger. Thank you for throwing that out there, Grandpa Rails. If you can hit the like button, it spreads the word and brings people in. Bob, welcome back in. So when I printed the latest version, I had the same issue again where it wants to print these slits in here, and it didn't print that layer that I built over top. The other thing was I had this up on its side like this with tree supports. And I added the beams that are on the inside here, and you can see they're a mess because this, when it was on its side, it wanted to support everything here. And so it's a complete mess. Nothing printed out really the way it should have. On this end, where the supports needs more work, but it actually printed out an extra layer and should have just printed out a support layer. And then also it kind of fused the support layer under these tranches when it was like this. So it's a complete mess, this one. And even on this side, you can see this one's thinner. Again, there were supports under here, and it fused the support layer to the top when it was like this. So I would consider this a fail. Not a complete fail over here. I was really impressed with what I was able to do with those. And from the 3D print, here is the styrene version, and there is some 3D printing where I was able to get these tranches to have that top piece. Hey, James, welcome in. Nice to have you in here. It's been a while since I've seen you. And Rick, thanks for bringing the whole gang with you. Appreciate it. So, yep. And it's a learning experience, and I'm going to show you what happened after this. But I wanted to show you this. So I went back to after I did this and these ends, I did the 3D print ends. But this actually turned out with a lot of measuring. It's not exact spacing, but it's decent. And on this end as well, I had to go to the store and get some extra styrene for this. So this is coming along. Here are the bolsters again with their the other thing, again, learning with 3D printing, these aren't solid fills. So when you go to I don't know if I have the one I did. If you go to print, or if you go to put your hole in here for the screw and it's not solid, it's not going to hold it, and it wasn't. So I reprinted them solid. I also gave this just a little bit less of a square look to it. On these edges are rounded. So, and I got those connected, and I used E6000 to connect these. And again, it's a thin piece of styrene, so it's only going to go up to there with the screw. So we'll work on that. So much better looking than this so far. So for those of you that are purists that like to build with styrene by hand versus using a printer as a tool, right now this one's winning. However, I did some additional work and I've got the tranches printed correctly on here. I changed the orientation. The other thing besides the orientation, I also experimenting with using dissimilar plastic. So this is PLA, which is the most common filament, and for the supports, I used PETG or PETG, which is a different plastic filament, and they don't melt together. They're dissimilar. So when I did that, I had the orientation like this on here's the build plate. I had the orientation like this and just some smaller supports here. And surprisingly well, these printed surprisingly well. The spacing is much nicer than my handheld spacing on here and looks more like the prototype. No supports were needed in here. I didn't need any supports in here. Didn't need any supports up and down in here. And so this came out much, much nicer and worked very well. So I know my orientation now. I know how to do that. Here's where I forgot to make these solid and these same bolsters as part of this. And I went and drilled in there and it went right through. There's no support for me to hold on with a screw. So Bob, I saw one of the pictures of you as you were going through your Canada folks that you were hanging with. Thanks, Rick. Yep, I'm doing the slow build right now, getting one or two every once in a while. So my stuff's getting discovered. People are learning from my mistakes, so we'll keep that going. Yep, and I appreciate that, James, and I know you've been in the chats before and hanging out with us. So this is moving along nicely, and so I'm doing both projects, taking pictures so that hopefully I could put some more video together. And I don't really have a lot of video. I've gotten lazy with that, taking video of the actual work, and I've been trying to just take pictures of each step that I'm doing. So hopefully what I get out of this is two cars that of the same type that I can have evaluated to see if I can get them to merit and see which one does, or if both do, that's fantastic too. So Charlie, for design, I use Onshape, which if you haven't heard of it is it's free or paid. And unfortunately, the free version, everything you make is public. So if you're worried about, if you're trying to make a business out of it, I would say choose one of their business plans or one of their paid plans so you can keep your intellectual property kind of private, because this is not. But it's a program that was introduced to me, and I had been trying a few programs out. So Yep, I definitely can. Or my social media manager can do that. I have quite the social media manager, and yep. So yep, Blender had a learning curve that, and I learned about Blender. Um, I learned about Blender from using the first software I used for video editing. Used Blender for like title screens and text and things. It was like an opens. It was called OpenShot, and it used Inkscape for some of the titles and text, and it used Blender. And Blender was a little bit intimidating to me. I tried a couple others, but I did a build along with New Tracks Modeling, which is a weekly online model railroading show, and I've been with them since. Been kind of I volunteered for them for a while. I had started with them when they were real small and just starting out as a result of the pandemic. And they're going strong now. And I kind of pulled back from them. I checked their stuff out once in a while, but they do these things, these build alongs, and they used to get you discounts on kits. My first um, um, Craftsman kit, the one that got me to jump in, was on that show. And so this guy was showing how you can learn CAD in a simpler form. And he doesn't normally use Onshape, but he was trying to pick a program he thought would be a good entry level or something to get people interested. So Onshape, I decided it was best if I stuck with one program and learned it. And so that's why I stuck with Onshape, because I had that experience. I don't know 70% of it, but I'm learning with every project I do. And many of which I've shown on here on the live stream have come from designs I've done. I'm trying to think. So for instance, when I copied the kit, the plastic the injection molded plastic piece, I designed it in Onshape. When this whole car, I'm designing in Onshape in pieces and putting them together. So I enjoy that program, but I have experience with it now. I'm not intimidated by it anymore or anything like that, where Blender intimidated me and it just didn't take. So one of the things that's really used a lot in model railroading with Inkscape is cardstock modeling. And a lot of people do their designs in Inkscape, and so I kind of want to try it. There's a really, really good modeler, and I'm going to forget who it is, and he's on my list of subscriptions, who built a whole world. Is it Chadwick? I think. Is it Chadwick? That could be another modeler who does everything with cardstock, and he uses Inkscape to design. So I'm going back this, so let me find what I was looking for. So yeah, I know. A couple of you guys do that with your A1s, Grandpa Rails, and so I was thinking about it. I haven't set up a camera for it, and I haven't used the camera on there. I don't bother with the time lapse piece of it. You don't need to do that to film it. You just put a camera on there and you can film it going. And we make small enough prints that they don't take a huge long time. And you just take a snippet of that, and they come up on my feed all the time. So I'll have to put some effort into that, or convince my social media manager to do that for me. So. So I certainly been working on that. The other news is next week, I know I probably can go live from my phone, but I don't expect to be live on Friday of next week, because I will do my annual trip to Chicago. And the nights is when I spend most of the time with my mother and my aunt. So I don't expect to go live. So y'all can take a break from me and be back in 2 weeks. Things, if any of you are in the Chicagoland area or know the Chicagoland area, there are a couple things I always hit up when I go. I don't always buy stuff. The Great Midwest Train Show, which is at the DuPage County Fairgrounds, which is about a half hour or 45 minutes away from where I'm at. It's always the first weekend of the month, every month, but it's Easter weekend. So they pushed it back to next weekend, which coincides with when I'll be there. So this happens every 5 years. And I got the Horizon cars that I'm building all my rolling stock out of for the New Jersey Transit cars at the last time I was there. It was a great find. So I always go back there. There is a model railroader, I think it's Popaville Trains. He's mostly in O-Scaler and Lionel and that type of thing. I'm subscribed to him, so I'll be looking for him. He's always does those shows. He always has stuff to sell. He brings in he gets stock from people, and so he's going to be there. So I'm going to try and see if I can find him there, because luckily I'll be able to do that. So that'll be on Saturday. There's the hobby shop where I got the Campbell kit that I'm sort of working on right now, that you've seen on previous streams, was from a place called Ron's Mundelein Hobbies in Mundelein, Illinois. That's probably 45 minutes from where I'm at. So I'll take a trip up there. It looks like it got sold, but it was an old time hobby shop where it was just a couple guys that wanted to sit around and talk about trains and model railroads, and they did repairs there and stuff. I got the kit. I got the Campbell kit from them real cheap. I got an Eastern Car Works. I think it's called Eastern Car Works. That's the private car. So I got a Campbell scale models kit that I'm working on, which is the Siebel Manufacturing Company, for $10. And it's the full kit. It has everything in it. It was sealed. And I got that the private car that I'm working on was a business car, and I got that real cheap as well. And I got a couple there. I use Model Air paints from Vallejo, and they had them about 50 cents cheaper than anywhere out here in Minneapolis where I'm at. So I got a couple paints there that time I was there. I always check out Lombard Hobbies. Those guys are always nice. You don't feel in the way, but all they are doing is fulfilling online orders all day long, but you're never in the way. They're willing to help. Great place to go. also had some, from in the past they've had some deals, but they're mostly regular price stuff, and I don't buy that much. Um, I always check out Des Plaines Hobbies, so I'll check them out. I hardly ever buy from them, again, because I'm not buying ready to run stuff. So I'll definitely have a look at their stuff. So what else? What's everybody else working on? I know, Bob, you're working on your new layout with the cans holding up the benchwork, and your 3D printing that you're doing. I'm looking forward to what you get out, and what you start selling when you start selling it, and happy to, as we talked about, if you want me to build one for you, and show my builds, and promote it, I'm happy to do that. um, let's see. So there's let's see. Oh, check you out later, Charlie. Thanks for stopping in. Um, let your wife know that we all kept you safe and out of trouble, in case she asks. So have a good night. Nice, Bob. There used to be, Des Plaines Hobbies is a pretty big hobby shop. It's well stocked, multiple scales. It's fine. It just, like I said, I don't do a lot of ready to run stuff, and that's what they're gonna have most of. Um, even at train shows, you'll find me, instead of, when I have stocks of styrene, for instance, that I think I need on a project, that's real cheap because they're selling them for $1 or $2, maybe opened, and may have had, 4 rods in them, but it has 3 or whatever. Um, so, um, Bob, you'll have to check out Brad's videos and his community posts. He's doing a lot of great work on his layout, and he's got some modules that he's working on. It's pretty cool. Um, yeah, Des Plaines Hobbies is well known. There's another hobby shop that, I don't know if it's still there. It never comes up when I search, and I don't remember the name of it, but it used to be in this really small space, and you couldn't even walk around in it. I'm not sure where that one is. There are definitely places to go and I'm basically in the Northwest area. So, um, the my mom's show, her miniature show, which is an international show. It's the most well known. She is. It's called the Marriott O'Hare. It's a very old Marriott, and it's right outside O'Hare, and O'Hare is kind of northwest of Chicago. Um, and It used to be in Schaumburg or Schaumburg, depending on how you say it, which is a suburb of Chicago, a huge, huge area. Um, so we, over the last, I don't know, 20, 25 years, we've gotten to really know that area, even though we've gone once a year. We have our favorite spots. My wife, who used to be into comics, has her favorite comic book store, which is still an old style comic book store, not upcharging, not charging for, not his costs aren't paying for rent and things like that. And he's a real comic book guy. So when she's out there, we always stop there. We have our favorite restaurants to go to and all of that stuff. So yeah, Rosemont's right around the corner, like literally around the corner from where we stay. So you go up Higgins Road, you make a left, and you end up in Rosemont. We love hockey, and we've in the past, any chance we got, we've gone to the Rosemont Horizon, which is so funny because it's an arena that's next to a Target. It's just kind of funny that way. But we've gone to a number of hockey games there, and it's a nice area. So Sergeant Rock Comics. That doesn't strike anything for me, but I'm not the comic person. Gopher Girl's the comic person. She may know more than I do. So yeah. So Rick, you're right. That's right around the corner. Then we kind of go more west into the Schaumburg area and stuff. And there's, when we're usually Lego shopping as well. Ben Central Trains. Is he in Minneapolis now, or is he in Chicago and selling through 3D Central? So, for me, when I started printing stuff, Bamboo A1 printers are really out of the box, ready to go. You don't have to do much to them. You got to plug some things in. That's about it. So I would search for models all the time. But I never paid for models because I always be worried about, even though it's only a couple dollars usually, I'd be worried about paying for a file and it not coming out at all. And then me not knowing enough to be able to fix those problems. So so when I go, I use a site called Yegi.com, and it is it's a meta site, so it looks at other sites for your models, and then it'll send you out to, if it's on Thingiverse, you'll go out to Thingiverse and you can pick up the file. There's a designer, his name is Kim Rumble, and he goes by Cab Rumble. And you can find him on Thingiverse or through Yegi. He says he can tip them, but he doesn't ask for any money. He builds fantastic HO scale models. He takes requests. As far as I know, if he's still taking requests, but he, Curly Express and I have both, and there's a couple other people who have printed his models that are just like the Merchant's Row models from Walthers, except they're 3D designed and 3D printed instead of injection molded from Walthers. And they're fantastic models. I have one on my layout, and I know Dwight's been working on his stream, and they're just fantastic. He doesn't just do those; he does all kinds of HO scale stuff. And there's plenty of other great modelers out there, but you definitely something. Is definitely something to check out if you're looking for models. that are layout ready essentially, and you either have somebody that can print them or you can print them, I highly recommend checking out 3D models. So, Bob, what I'm excited about is when things work. When I was really depressed at this print, and the fact that I've never had it where a support layer fused with the model, or acted like just another layer. And then the way the ends came out after all the time it took to design, and then to understand that and come back and find another way to print it and then have it work, it's a phenomenal feeling. And to know that, I mean, this is not completely styrene, because you have the tranches that are 3D printed, because I just couldn't figure out a way to design those satisfactorily. So I went with the 3D print, and the same with the bolsters. I don't have enough confidence to build bolsters out of styrene. I suppose if I could take, if I could have taken, I don't know, 040 styrene and shaved this and cut this shape, this rectangle, and then shaved this down, maybe I could have had my own bolsters that way. I don't think I could have, if I was going to use something like this, I don't think I could design that with styrene. And when asked about it in the past, and from some folks that don't like the idea of 3D printing versus and using it as a tool versus cutting and gluing styrene and cutting and shaping with styrene. My response is, I understand, even with skill building, I understand my limitations with my dexterity and my ability to make fine cuts and make cuts look good. And so the attraction of the 3D printing is I'm still designing it, which I really enjoy doing. As I become more and more successful, I enjoy doing it. The other thing that comes out is it's a little more precise, and these are mightily similar, but they're really, from a measurement standpoint, they look closer to the prototype if that's what I'm trying to model. And that's nicer looking for my layout. So I like it personally that way. Hey, Robert, welcome in. I'm not sure if I said hello to you. The Prairie House Club, the Prairie Scale Club. Where are they located, Robert? The last time I went to a club in Chicago, where I had a really good time, was the Elmhurst Model Railroad Club. Really quaint area that they really built up. The club is right next to train tracks, which is really neat. So you can, lots of trains out there. So, yeah, I can't take credit for it. I tell people all the time about his stuff. I won't take credit for it though. But I think his stuff is getting popular amongst model railroaders. They're finding it. They're finding the use of of 3D printing to be a positive on the hobby. Outside of the initial investment, if you are buying a printer, outside of that initial investment, at some point you've used it so much that it's really paid for itself. I don't know exactly when that point is, but I know I've printed enough household uses, enough organization for my hobby, which I've also showed, if you want to check out, I don't know if it was the last stream or the stream before that, but I showed quite a bit of my setup, which includes a lot of 3D printed bins and holders and things. I have holders for my knives and my tape, and I even have a holder for my neoprene gloves that I printed out, and all my little plastic clamps and my rulers, and everything that I keep working on. What do I need to use? What do I use most often? What needs to be what needs to be near me? And so off to my left here, I have all of my tweezers and a holder for my X-Acto knives, and tape, and a holder for my flush cutters, my glues, and the thing I use most of all are toothpicks. And I have those, they're all to my left and easily accessible and droppable, like I just did. And so I've found that helpful, but I've found it helpful for other household things. Gary Lavert, I'm not sure I've checked him. I've seen him. Let's see. Is he HO scale, N scale? I kind of ignore the other scales. Although there's a designer who designed modern storefronts, and I printed a Blockbuster, and it was in S scale. He does everything in S scale, and I just, in the when I went to print it in the slicer, I scaled it down for HO scale, and it's scaled well. So I wonder how to look up his stuff on Yegi. But I'll have to take a look at that when I can actually focus on it. So speaking of AI, Bob, something that people didn't catch on the thumbnail of or didn't mention it on the thumbnail of my last stream, I think you all should go take a look at that. See what AI did to the Conrail sign. And I didn't notice this until I was building my thumbnail. By the way, it's the 50th anniversary for Conrail's operations. They started operating on April 1st, 50 years ago. So 1976, I was 4 years old at the time. Not that I remember it. I just know that it's the anniversary. So that's why. So when I was taking a picture I was just grabbing the Conrail symbol because it was my work, and I don't want any copyright strikes. I noticed something very interesting about the thumbnail from last week, because I used AI for that. I put the model that I did in the middle there, and used AI to build around it. It did something funny to that. So let's see if I can bring that up, maybe. So AI is an interesting tool to work with for the things you need. It's being pushed at my job for quite a few things, and it's pretty useful for a lot of things. I don't fear AI taking over the world or anything like that, but I do feel like it can It's trending towards our our youth not learning things. And if the rest of the world is that way too, it's not as big of a deal. But if you're not able to write something, literally write it out on your own, think of it and edit it and write it, um, it may be a disadvantage now. In the future, it may not, if everything is designed AI based. But that's a whole different argument for a whole different world, and maybe not this one. But it's interesting trying it out and using it and learning how to get good prompts going, so you get the desired results that you want. I know where I can pull it up. Well, I think I know where I can. Yeah. So I use, I'm sure many of you are aware of this, I use Canva to do all my thumbnails. Let's see if I can get, I don't know if I can share this. Give me a sec here. I'm just all over the place these days. So I'm not sure. So this is the thumbnail. So all of this scenery is all AI generated. The details on this boxcar, this is a 3D printed boxcar and it has no details on the end. It added wording up there, and it added ladders and brake wheel, and I asked it to do that. This truck behind here is actually an HO scale truck that is behind there. That's the track. That's actual track. But I asked I asked for it to have this kind of look. Oh, let's see if I can focus on that any further. Let's. Oh, no, that's not what we want to do. Let's pause that. Let's try again. And pause that. And I don't know if I can don't know if I can quite see. I can't see it, so I'm not sure you can see it. But it might be that through copyright concerns and things like that. When I was going to, I clipped this picture here just to get the Conrail sign, and it came up and it said Comrail. And I'm like, what the heck? And so it took me a minute to realize that it updated it as part of the AI. So thinking potentially that it understood that it was an entity that had its own license marks or something, and created it to say Comrail. But nobody actually mentioned that to me. But this looks really, really nice from an AI standpoint. It took like 7 attempts at prompts because I couldn't get the weeds on the left down small. It wasn't understanding my prompts. But that was an AI adventure for me. Yeah, like you're saying, Bob. Yeah, it may fail, and you have to. The key is getting used to AI prompts and how to get it to really do what you want. And there's some give and take with that, because you might have 90% of it exactly how you want it, and you want to go change the 10% and it changes something else. So there's still work to be done with AI for sure. So Canva, yes. Great Northern, welcome in. Jimmy. It surprised me that at how teachers have to deal with and I don't get surprised very easily, but the stories of people dealing with figuring out, they spend half their time now um, figuring out if kids are using AI. They all have computers in their classroom. They're looking things up. I mean, you even see people giving how they cheat online in social media and stuff. Um, so thanks, Bob. I appreciate that. Uh, yeah. So there's track right in front of this. Um, on the left side as well. It had to fit in between, and it's also, I didn't have any ground cover, so it's on plywood board, and so it just had the tracks here, and it looked good with the tracks over here, but I but I wanted to have some things that it might be working with. So I asked it to put in the ties, and then they were in the back there. Then they moved them up front here, and the track went further and further away. You can see a little bit of the track on the left side. It just moved it out. And then where this truck is behind is a road. And so I wanted a road crossing it because I do have a road over there crossing over, but it's further to the right. And so I just asked it to do it as dirt, and I said I wanted it kind of muddy and with dirt tracks, and it put those in, so it came out nice. And I think the shrubs up nice. There were a couple of versions of that look nice. I was just bothered by with the one in the back, and the sky was really easy to ask for that, and that filled it in. I have no sky over there. I have the wall behind there, so it really did a decent job for a thumbnail. You know, Great Northern, yes, there's possibility where jobs will go away if they can be done by machinery, and that was when robotics came in. That was a big fear and a big deal. Um, but I think if you talk to some employers, they're struggling to get people to work for them. So if AI can help them, they're going to do it because it's going to be economical, and they can't get the help, then they have to find a way to make things happen. So, and I can see the struggles. I work the part of the business that I work in benefits, health and pension benefits. And we're a seasonal business in the area I'm in because we hire up for the open enrollment season. So your fourth quarter of the year. And outside of that, it's very thin. And so to get that workforce every year is a struggle. And I've watched us struggle with that. And so I can understand why AI might help that. So yes, it potentially could take away some jobs that are out there, but I think for the most part, from what my experience is, it could be helpful. And it doesn't actually help. I work specifically with the customer service side, and so we do need humans. There's a lot of automation that's come in, but it hasn't gotten rid of our need for a couple of thousand people for the fourth quarter. Yeah. Yeah, well, you live and you learn, Bob. If you're trying to tell it, not to, um, I was learning doing this, and 6 or 7 tries, and I finally, when I knew I couldn't get the bush behind to get smaller and get some forced perspective or something with it, I was like done. Everything else looked good enough for the thumbnail. Yeah, and that's where I have a road. So I did the roads. I tried tile grout, and they look fantastic. And so I have a crossing for sure there. It's off to the right a little bit more. Um, yeah. I wish, Great Northern, I wish I was at the end of my job line as well. I wish I could retire and do this model railroading thing the rest of my life. But um, as Gopher Girl reminds me, I'm probably going to work until I'm done with this world, So, yep, AI is a tool. And it, by its nature, it has to learn. And so I've seen that when we've implemented new AI technology, when it doesn't have all that learning, it is, it takes a while. And I'm seeing it now starting to learn. And so it actually does make a difference. Hey, Bob, have a great night. Appreciate the showing up with the gang. And yep, and I'm sure we'll see some of that productivity coming up on YouTube after the weekend. So have a great night. Appreciate you coming in. So for everybody that's in here, because I had it up at the top of the show, I have, let me see if I can get this to, I'm going to try and create a community, not just like the live stream. I also wanted to see what I can do and become good at Discord, because I am not, and I'm part of other communities. But I created this Discord. It's at the top of the chat. Let me see if I can copy it again. I want to see all comments. Let's see if I can. Oh, I know where I can get it to. And it only has comments from me right now on the Discord server. Let's try that again. Come on. But if you want to join and start a conversation there, I would appreciate it. And I want to see what we can do to create a little bit of a community there as well. So, hey, Tom. Yeah. I don't think I'll ever find that. Of course, I'm going to go back to that hobby shop and see if they have more kits that are $10 for sure. But yeah, you don't find that much out there. But there's the Discord invite. Go out there, join it, start commenting. I created some community chats in there. You can use the phone feature and talk to people online through your computer. You can see the yes, there are lots of model railroad Discords there. I'm just adding to the clutter, but I'm hoping that I can do something. And if you go out there and join in, there's a channel called Just Jump In. If you look in there, I have a Restream bot, and it's throwing out there the comments. It's pulling comments and throwing them into the chat there, and it includes you can even see the links that I sent. So it has the links for the YouTube channels that I have featured, Cap Rumble's name, Yagi.com, all those comments filled out there. I'm by no, like I said, I'm just trying to build up a community. And hey, Ken, have a great night. And so if you want to join, and teach me how to use it. It's crazy that I'm going ahead and starting it up, and I'm saying I'm struggling with the other ones, but I'm trying to get on more social media stuff. I'm trying to be more social. I mean, I don't even show my face on this chat very much. Once in a while, videos, I haven't shown my face much, and I get a little bit of stage fright, and which is interesting that I'm able to do this, but and I'm, but I've done clinics now, but I've done I've done them recorded and then been there to answer questions. I think yeah, I'm probably not the best to teach Discord. Like, I kind of get it. So, but, and I see Rick jumped in there and said hi, and that's cool. So now I have somebody else. That's awesome. So thank you very much for doing that. So with that, that's the update where I'm at. So I continue to work on these. I also have, in one of these chats, I'll have to go through and kind of show everybody all of the projects I'm working on. I have one car that I finished, that I got evaluated, it merited, and it was actually in 2025 at our regional convention for the Thousand Lakes region, actually was the best in show. And so I'm really proud of that. And so that really got my juices flowing, kept me going. I'm the only one I'm betting that has, for the AP for cars, where you need 8 cars and only one of them has to be passenger, but you need 4 different cars and a total of 8, where 4 of the cars are going to be passenger. And then, I've gone down the Conrail, because I know Conrail had run on the Northeast Quarter in my time a little bit. So that's where I'm focusing. So you have the coil car, which is going to be Conrail. I designed a 3D printed gondola out of the clinic that I used to build the flat car. And this was so much smaller. It has a different center sill. Essentially, it's a different setup, so much harder to use that as the base. But I was just trying to use stuff that was the base. Now, Tom got me away from doing something crazy, like I was going to do like a modern car carrier. An auto rack, not a car carrier. And he's trying to simplify it, build off those cars. And so that's what I was doing. And so then but I needed to vary the cars. I was also going to do the private car, which is also a passenger car. And I started on that. I don't think that's super detailed enough from what I've seen people get evaluated, and it's a kit, so it's not going to score very high. So I don't think it would merit. Then I got the passenger. So I got a passenger car, a coach. I've got the flat car, the gondola, and then this will be the coil car, and that'll be your 4 different cars for this certificate. And then I've started working on motive power, And all of those that I'm working on, and I'll have to show those too, all of those are 3D design that I'm trying to do. So more to come in a couple weeks. I'll certainly try and share. I'm flying this time, not taking the train, so I won't really have any pictures for that, but I'll see what I can do for pictures out in out in Chicago. And want to thank everybody for coming in. Rick, for bringing the whole crew over from your stream. That was really nice to introduce a lot of those folks to my stream, even though I've interacted with them for a couple of years and stuff. Appreciate all that. I appreciate everybody stopping in and joining me and following my journey. And I hope that I either inspire you or show you not what to do. And show you the errors that I make so that you don't make them. But again, I want to thank you very much and say, just jump in and have a great weekend, everybody.